General Hospital spoilers reveal that Port Charles has seen me through heartbreaks, joys, and everything in between, and no character has captured my heart quite like Maxie, brought to life so perfectly by Kirsten Storms. I remember when she first appeared as that feisty little girl, full of spirit and mischief, and I watched her grow into the complicated, resilient woman she is today. Through all the ups and downs, the losses, the loves, the schemes that always seemed to pull her back from the edge, Maxie has been the heartbeat of so many storylines that kept me coming back day after day. So when the latest real-life news about Kirsten broke just yesterday, it hit me like a plot twist I never saw coming, and I've been turning it over in my mind ever since, wondering how it might ripple through the show we all love so dearly. You see, I've followed Kirsten's journey as closely as I've followed Maxie's, because the two have become inseparable in my heart. She's poured so much of herself into that role for over 2 decades, making Maxie feel real, flawed, and utterly human. That's why reading about the emergency restraining order granted to her ex-husband, Brandon Barash, himself a familiar face from his days as Johnny Zachara on our beloved show, left me with a heavy feeling. According to the court documents that have been made public, Brandon expressed deep concerns about Kirsten's mental health and her ability to provide a stable home for their 12-year-old daughter, Harper Rose. There were mentions of months of instability, moving between hotels because of fears that someone was watching them, a recent eviction notice from their latest rental in Tennessee, and even worries about the car being repossessed, along with an unpaid loan. It's the kind of personal struggle that no one wants to see a mother facing, especially one who's given us so many years of joy on screen. Brandon also spoke of conversations where Kirsten described experiencing delusions and hallucinations back in May of last year, leading to a hospital stay, and more recent reports of break-ins and things being moved around that added to the sense of chaos. The judge agreed there was enough cause for the emergency order, and while Kirsten is still allowed created supervised visits with their daughter until things are reviewed, it's clear this is a difficult chapter for her family. Now, as a longtime viewer who's seen the show handle everything from comas to kidnappings with grace, I can't help but connect these real-life headlines to what's been unfolding in Port Charles lately. Remember how Maxie slipped into that long coma last August after using that tainted face cream? She finally woke up earlier this year, in February, stepping back into a world that had shifted without her Nathan's mysterious return, the tangled emotions with Lulu, and all the secrets swirling around the Faison legacy. It felt like a fresh start for the character, and I was thrilled to see Kirsten back on screen, bringing that signature spark to every scene. But with the news that she's now listed as off contract since early April, rumors have started swirling about her future on the show. Some whispers even suggest the possibility of a full exit or, heaven forbid, a recast for Maxie. I have to pause here and ask myself, and all of you fellow fans who've stuck with GH through thick and thin, could the writers really be preparing to let go of the one actress who has defined this role for a generation? In my opinion, that would be nothing short of a new obsession-worthy disaster for the series, one that mirrors the very instability we're seeing in Kirsten's personal life, but in a way that feels profoundly different from the core of Maxie's original story. Let me explain why I feel so strongly about this, drawing from everything I've watched over the decades. Maxie wasn't just written as a survivor. She was crafted with layers of vulnerability and strength that Kirsten embodied so naturally. Think back to the original arcs, the way she lost Georgie, how she navigated motherhood with Spinelli and the children, the heartbreak with Nathan that still echoes in fan discussions. Those storylines worked because Kirsten brought an authenticity to Maxie's resilience, a sparkle in her eyes, even during the darkest moments that reminded us life in Port Charles and in the real world keeps turning. The current plot threads, with Nathan's return stirring up old feelings and Lulu caught in the middle, were already building towards something electric. Maxie waking up to find her world changed felt timely, almost prescient, especially now with the real-life parallels of upheaval and mental health challenges. If the show chooses to recast, it risks breaking that deep connection we've all built. I've seen recasts before. Some have worked wonders, like when they brought back beloved faces after time away, but Maxie without Kirsten. It would feel like rewriting the soul of the character in a way that strays too far from the heart of what made her so compelling from the start. It's almost as if the drama off-screen is bleeding into the fiction, forcing the writers to confront a thumbhua that could either deepen the storytelling or fracture it. I keep coming back to the court details because they paint such a vivid picture of the pressure Kirsten has been under, and it makes me wonder how the show might weave similar themes into Maxie's future without exploiting the real pain. Brandon's concerns about stability for Harper, the reported hallucinations, and the Adderall-related worries shared by friends, it's all so raw and human. Yet, as a fan who's lived through my own share of life's curveballs, I choose to see this as a chance for compassion rather than judgment. Kirsten has always been open with us through her social media, sharing glimpses of her struggles with health and family, and even recently posting about hacks and intrusions that echo the paranoia described in the filings. It's heartbreaking, but it also humanizes the woman behind the icon. If General Hospital is indeed adjusting Maxie's storyline to reflect a Tung Lai Mer shaped by these events, perhaps exploring mental health with the sensitivity the show has shown in the past with characters like Sunny or Elizabeth, then I believe it could become one of the most powerful arcs we've seen in years. The question is, will they keep Kirsten at the center of it? The off-contract status suggests a lighter schedule for now, maybe to give her space while the Nathan Lulu drama plays out, but I refuse to believe the powers that be would fully let her go without a fight. She's too integral, too beloved. What strikes me most is how this situation highlights the thin line between the soap we watch and the lives the actors lead. I've often thought that General Hospital has a way of pulling from real emotions to fuel its best moments. Remember when Jeannie Francis stepped away and returned stronger than ever as Laura? Or the way Maurice Benard has openly discussed his own mental health journey, enriching Sunny's character. This feels like another layer of that truth-seeking spirit the show has always embraced. If they recast Maxie now, amid all this, it would feel like an Armand Mur that prioritizes shock over substance, something I've rarely seen the current regime jaw. Instead, I picture Maxie emerging from her coma not just physically healed, but emotionally tested in ways that echo Kirsten's real challenges, perhaps leaning on her Port Charles family for support, confronting delusions of her own in a storyline that feels earned rather than borrowed. It would differentiate so sharply from the original Maxie blueprint, where she was the eternal schemer bouncing back with humor and heart, by adding a raw, contemporary depth that speaks to audiences today. And honestly, that kind of evolution could keep the show burning bright for another decade. Of course, I can't ignore the excitement bubbling under all this uncertainty. Port Charles is heating up with Sidwell's schemes, the Faison connections, and the potential for Britt and Nathan's returns to shake everything loose. Maxie stepping back into that chaos, whether on a recurring basis or full-time, promises the kind of drama that makes me reach for the remote every weekday. Will she fight for her place with Spinelli? How will she react to the truths about Nathan? These questions keep me up at night in the best way, and the real-life news only adds fuel to the fire. I've chatted with fellow fans online, many of them in their 60s and 70s like me, and we all agree Kirsten is Maxie through and through. Replacing her would be a misstep that could alienate the very audience that has kept this show alive for over 60 years. But if the writers handle this transition with care, perhaps giving her a graceful, temporary step back, while focusing on family healing off-screen, then the Tarmhwa Mer might turn into a triumphant return that feels even more satisfying. I've poured my heart into this because General Hospital isn't just entertainment for me. It's a constant companion that's seen me through empty nest years, grandkids' milestones, and quiet afternoons with a cup of tea. The news about Kirsten and Brandon reminds me that even our favorite stars face storms we can't always see. I'm rooting for her health, for stability for little Harper, and for the show to make choices that honor the legacy Kirsten has built. Whether Maxie stays firmly in Kirsten's hands or the story takes an unexpected turn, one thing is certain. The drama in Port Charles is only getting hotter, and I'll be right here watching every minute. There's something comforting in knowing that no matter what twists come next on screen or off, the spirit of General Hospital endures. And that, my friends, is what keeps this old fan coming back with the same excitement I felt all those years ago. Here's to more stories, more heart, and hopefully smoother waters ahead for everyone involved. I can't wait to see what tomorrow brings.